Let's get weird into it. Number 10. The mom lifts a car trick. Imagine you're having a perfectly mediocre Tuesday. The sky is gray, the coffee is bitter, and you're pretty sure your boss is a highly evolved garden gnome. Suddenly, you hear a screech of tires and a sickening crunch. A car has pinned someone's leg. Chaos erupts. People are screaming. But you don't scream. You run over, grab the fender of a 2-ton sedan, and just lift. This is hysterical strength. It's the stuff of urban legends, except it's annoyingly real. Your body is a finely tuned machine that is constantly, and I mean constantly, holding back. Your muscles are capable of tearing themselves right off the bone, and your brain knows this. So it installs these little governors, these biological kill switches, that prevent you from turning your own skeleton into a pile of disconnected toothpicks just to open a stubborn pickle jar. But in a moment of pure, pants-wetting terror, your brain hits the big red emergency button. The adrenal glands dump a cocktail of adrenaline and noradrenaline into your system. This isn't just a shot of espresso. It's like plugging your nervous system directly into a nuclear power plant. Those kill switches get bypassed. Every single muscle fiber, even the lazy ones that usually just hang out and watch, is recruited for one job. The result? You, a normal human who struggles with grocery bags, can briefly deadlift a small vehicle. The kicker, of course, is the bill that comes due. Once the adrenaline wears off, your body presents you with the receipt for your heroism. It's a laundry list of torn ligaments, shredded muscle tissue, and sometimes even fractured bones. You saved a life, but you paid for it by treating your own body like a disposable party popper. Number 9. The slow-mo replay. You're driving. You glance down to change the song. When you look up, the brake lights of the car in front of you are no longer distant red dots. They are giant, angry planets filling your entire windshield. In that split second before impact, something bizarre happens. Time stretches. It becomes thick, syrupy. You can see the tiny stress fractures in the glass, the frantic expression on the other driver's face, a bird flying peacefully in the sky, completely unaware of your impending doom. The world has just switched into bullet time, and you're the star. This phenomenon is called tachypsychia. And no, you haven't suddenly developed the ability to bend the space-time continuum. Your brain just got really, really scared. When faced with a life-threatening situation, your amygdala, the brain's little almond-shaped panic room, goes into hyperdrive. It starts ordering your brain to form memories with insane speed and density. Think of it like this. Your brain normally records your life at a standard 24 frames per second. But during a crisis, the amygdala screams, "Switch to 4K super slow-mo." It's not that time itself is slowing down. It's that you're creating so many more memory frames of the event. Later, when your brain plays back that 1 second of terror, it has to sift through what feels like 5 minutes of footage. It's an illusion, a trick of memory storage. You weren't moving faster. Your internal camera was just working overtime, so you didn't dodge the fender bender like Neo. You just got a high-definition, director's cut of your own failure. Thanks, brain. Number 8. Your personal mute button. You're in a crowd when you hear a pop. Was it a firecracker? A car backfiring? Then there's another one. And this time, there's no mistaking it. Panic floods the space, a wave of pure animal terror. People are screaming, shouting, the sound of 1,000 panicked feet hitting pavement. It should be a deafening symphony of chaos. But for you, it's not. The world has gone eerily quiet. You can hear your own ragged breathing, the thumping of your heart like a drum solo in your ears. And maybe, just maybe, the specific sound you need to locate to survive. Everything else is just gone. Welcome to Auditory Exclusion, your brain's noise-canceling headphones for the apocalypse. This is your brain's triage unit in action. It recognizes that it's being flooded with an overwhelming amount of sensory data, most of which is useless noise. The screams of others? Not helpful right now. The car alarm blaring down the street? Irrelevant. Your brain decides to filter it all out. It's a form of sensory gating, where your brain, in its infinite and slightly terrifying wisdom, just slams the gate shut on non-essential audio channels. It's trying to help you focus on the important stuff. The direction of the threat, the voice of a loved one, the sound of an escape route. It's the same mechanism that lets a mother hear her baby's cry over a loud party, but weaponized for survival. Your brain is essentially telling you, we don't have time for all this background noise. Focus. The silence is profoundly unsettling. In a moment that should be the loudest of your life, your brain creates a pocket of private, horrifying peace. You might survive, but you'll forever remember the sound of a disaster that, for you, didn't make a sound. Number 7. Instant memory wipe. Let's say the absolute worst happens. You survive something truly soul-shatteringly traumatic. A violent attack, a horrific accident. Later, when you're safe, people ask you what happened. You open your mouth to tell them, but there's nothing there. Just a blank spot. A black hole in your timeline. You know something awful occurred. You can feel the phantom pains and the cold sweat. But the memory itself has been professionally deleted. This is not you being dramatic. This is dissociative amnesia, and it's one of your brain's most extreme and terrifying defense mechanisms. Your brain has a special filing clerk for emotional memories called the amygdala, and a different one for the what, where, when of an event, called the hippocampus. Normally, they work together, stamping each memory with both facts and feelings. But when an experience is so overwhelmingly toxic that storing it would basically break your entire operating system, your brain makes a command decision. It prevents the memory from being properly encoded. It's like trying to save a corrupted file. Your brain just says, nope, this file is poison, and hits cancel before it can be written to your long-term hard drive. It's a desperate act of self-preservation. Your brain is trying to protect your consciousness from a memory so destructive it could shatter your sense of self. It builds a firewall around the trauma. The problem is, the fire is still burning on the other side. The body remembers. The trauma is still there, influencing your behavior, your fears, your nightmares. Your brain didn't destroy the monster. It just locked it in the basement and threw away the key, leaving you to wonder what's making all that noise downstairs. Number 6. The invisible friend. You are an Antarctic explorer in the early 20th century. Your ship is crushed by ice. You and your crew are stranded on a frozen wasteland, thousands of miles from civilization, slowly starving and freezing to death. The situation is beyond hopeless. Yet, as you lead your men on an impossible journey to safety, you feel not alone. There seems to be one more person in your party than there actually is. A quiet, encouraging presence that walks beside you, offering silent support. This is the third man factor. It's an unnervingly common phenomenon reported by people pushed to the absolute limits of human endurance. Mountaineers, solo sailors, astronauts, prisoners of war. They describe an unseen being, a benevolent presence that appears in their darkest hour to guide, comfort, and encourage them to keep going. Famed explorer Ernest Shackleton documented it, as did the climbers who survived the 9/11 attacks, feeling a presence guiding them down the stairs of the collapsing towers. Science says this is likely a coping mechanism, a hallucination brought on by a combination of extreme stress, sensory deprivation, exhaustion, and the brain's desperate need for social connection. Your brain, realizing you're about to give up and die, literally invents a friend to cheer you on. It conjures a guardian angel out of thin air and biochemicals, because the alternative is to let you lay down in the snow. It's a beautiful and deeply strange testament to the power of the human survival instinct. Your brain will literally break from reality to keep you tethered to it. Or maybe, just maybe, when you're standing on the edge of the void, something else is standing there with you. Number 5. Bullet time for dummies. On April 12, 2010, the first officer of Cathay Pacific Flight 780 was faced with an impossible situation. Both engines of the Airbus A330 were failing. He had one shot to land a 175-ton metal bird full of 322 souls, and he had to do it at nearly twice the normal landing speed. The margin for error was 0. In that cockpit, he didn't panic. He entered a state of heightened consciousness, a perfect, frictionless flow of action and reaction. He performed a series of impossibly complex calculations and maneuvers with a calm, detached precision. This is the ultimate flow state, your brain's secret genius mode. Under extreme pressure, the brain can radically reroute its resources. It shuts down the chatterbox parts, the prefrontal cortex that worries about what you're having for dinner, or if you left the oven on. All that useless mental noise vanishes. The parts of your brain responsible for doubt, for self-criticism, for fear, they go dark. What's left is a streamlined, hyper-efficient machine. Your sense of time dissolves. Your sense of self dissolves. There is only the task at hand. You're not thinking. You're just doing. It's a state of pure, unadulterated focus, where your skills and the challenge are in perfect, beautiful harmony. Your brain turns you from a panicking meat puppet into a supercomputer for the 10 seconds you need to be one. Captain Sully landing on the Hudson. That was a flow state. The first officer of Flight 780? Same deal. They became conduits for their training. acting with an intuition so fast it outpaced thought. The catch is that this power is temporary. You save the day, and then you go right back to being a regular person who can't remember their Netflix password. Number 4. The "it's just a flesh wound" protocol. A soldier in a firefight gets shot. He doesn't notice. He keeps fighting, keeps moving, keeps pulling his comrades to safety. It's only hours later, when the chaos has subsided, that he looks down and sees the wound that should have had him screaming in agony. Or maybe it's you, after a nasty car wreck. You're walking around, checking on others, making calls, on a completely shattered leg. You feel nothing. This isn't shock, not exactly. This is your brain's personal on-demand pharmacy. When your body suffers a massive trauma, your brain understands a simple, brutal truth. Debilitating pain is a luxury you cannot afford right now. Screaming about your broken femur is not going to help you get out of the burning car. So it floods your system with endorphins and enkephalins. These are your body's homegrown opioids, neurochemicals so powerful they make morphine look like a sugar pill. They latch onto the opioid receptors in your brain and spinal cord, effectively blocking pain signals from ever reaching your consciousness. Your nervous system is screaming bloody murder, but the front office isn't taking its calls. Your brain has put you on hold. This biological get-out-of-jail-free card allows you to function, to survive, to do what needs to be done without being crippled by agony. You become a temporary superhero, immune to pain. But every superpower has a price. The moment the danger is over and the endorphins recede, the hold music stops. All those frantic calls from your nervous system come through at once, and you are hit with a tidal wave of pain so immense it's a trauma all on its own. Number 3. Your built-in danger scope. Imagine you're walking through a forest. It's beautiful. Sunlight dapples through the leaves. Birds are singing their stupidly cheerful songs. Then, out of the corner of your eye, you see a flicker of movement. Your brain doesn't wait to ask questions. Instantly, your entire world narrows. The beautiful trees, the sky, the birdsong. It all fades into a blurry, insignificant periphery. All that exists now is a sharp, crystal-clear tunnel of vision pointed directly at the source of the movement. It's a predator, and you are its prey. This is tunnel vision, and it's your brain stripping down your visual input to the bare essentials. Your sympathetic nervous system, the same one responsible for jacking up your heart rate, also causes your pupils to dilate. But it's more than that. Your brain is actively choosing what to see. It's a survival filter. In that moment, the color of the flowers is irrelevant. The shape of the clouds is a waste of processing power. The only thing that matters is the shape, speed, and trajectory of the thing that wants to eat you. So your brain dedicates every ounce of its visual processing power to that one tiny slice of reality. It's like switching from a panoramic camera to a high-powered telescopic sight. You can see the twitch of the tiger's whisker, but you couldn't describe the tree standing right next to you. This incredible focus can save your life, allowing you to react to a threat with lightning speed. The downside? You become so focused on the tiger in front of you that you fail to see the cliff edge right at your feet. Number 2. The Spidey-Sense Tingle. You're walking down a quiet street at night. Everything seems normal, but you get a feeling. A cold, prickly sensation on the back of your neck, a knot of dread in your stomach. Something is wrong. Your brain, with no logical evidence to support it, is screaming at you to cross the street. Right now. You listen. Moments later, a man emerges from the dark alleyway you were about to pass. That feeling, that Spidey sense, isn't magic. It's your subconscious mind flexing its muscles. Your conscious brain is kind of slow and lazy. It processes information linearly, one thought at a time. But your subconscious is a supercomputer, processing millions of bits of data simultaneously. It's picking up on everything you're not consciously aware of. The subtle change in ambient sound, the flicker of a shadow that was out of place, the micro-expressions on a stranger's face from 50 feet away. It takes all this disparate, seemingly meaningless data, runs it through a complex threat assessment algorithm, forged by millennia of evolution, and comes to a conclusion. Danger. But since it can't send you a neatly formatted email explaining its reasoning, it just sends you a raw, primal feeling. A gut punch. A shiver. It's an intuitive leap. A conclusion without conscious premises. You don't know why, you just know. It's your brain's way of telling you, I've done the math and we need to move. Don't ask questions. Just go. It's your ancient animal brain giving you a push notification that could save your life. Number 1. The ultimate sensory upgrade. You wake up in the middle of the night to a strange smell. It's faint, but it cuts through your sleep-addled brain like a razor. It's acrid, chemical, smoke. Before you even see it, you smell it with a clarity that is almost painful. Your sense of smell, normally relegated to telling you if the milk has gone bad, has suddenly become as sharp as a bloodhound's. When the fight-or-flight response kicks in, your brain doesn't just prepare your muscles to run or fight. It overclocks your senses. Adrenaline can temporarily make your vision sharper, your hearing more acute, and your sense of smell almost preternaturally sensitive. Your brain is desperately trying to gather as much data as possible about the threat. Suddenly, you can hear the faint, rhythmic creak of floorboards on the other side of the house. You can see with perfect clarity in the low light of the moon. You can smell the specific type of plastic that's burning. You revert back to a primal prey animal state. Your body is no longer a soft, civilized human. It's an exquisitely tuned danger detector. This sensory upgrade is designed to give you every possible advantage. It's the final, most comprehensive superpower your brain can offer. It turns you into a creature of pure instinct, armed with information your conscious mind could never hope to gather. The bitter irony is that this incredible gift is only bestowed upon you in the moments when you need it most. The moments when you're forced to see, hear, and smell the absolute worst things imaginable with a vividness that will be burned into your memory forever. Okay, my brain's tired. I'm gonna go find more weird stuff. You know what to do if you want to see it.